Before we entertain the questions, maybe I'll just quickly summarize. We had first speaker from University of Philippines, which she talked about within their faculty at college, how engagement has been included in several different trusts, in curriculum, in the content delivery, in research and extension. And we have the Hanoi University of Civil Engineering, which also talks about how their faculty structures it through subjects, through practice, through research, and through extracurricular activity. And then we have University of St. Thomas, which is really a university-wide structure. And he explained how their faculty fits into the university-wide structure, which is a service learning program. And then we have UMPA also talking about, at the university level, the goals of the three aspects, including service learning, and how a group of educators in their department are interpreting the service learning. And it's really useful that he's showing us some findings from doing some survey focus group with the students. So let me maybe address the question at the chat box. First, there's a question. Could we mute, John, could we mute the people who are not in the panel? Thank you. First, let me pose Professor Wong's question. He said, community engagement is a subset of community service, but a pivotal one. But not all service is engagement. In some cases, can be seen as a hand-me-down or welfare service. Community engagement potentially suggests, as Professor Liu seemed to suggest, some revisions to the values of the designer, and in the co-creative, revises the definition of a designer. So has this been a case in the experiences of all the structured program in this session, meaning all of you here in your respective university? So maybe I would go one by one. Maybe Grace, what's your response to that question?
Hello. Yes, definitely. We have redefined the forms of engagement to one where the community members are regarded as mere beneficiaries. We look at them as partners, meaning they are given roles. They are often very much engaged in coordination and organizing their co-community members, settling conflicts within the community, because they don't always speak with one voice. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Could we have Professor Nguyen?
Yeah. You can see there are only 4 departments out of 10 departments at our faculty applying the new method of teaching, research, and undertaking extracurricular activities focusing on community-based or community-oriented education. Actually, the 4 departments are quite various in the level of success or the level of implementation, depending on a specific or let's say characteristics of their teaching and research duty at the faculty. The most successful one, in my opinion, is Department of Technical Infrastructure Planning, and then the Department of Architecture and Technology, followed by Urban Planning, And the last one, Department of Fundamentals of Art, which has only activities in extracurricular program. They have no project, no study subject, no research. Yeah. And we are aware of the gaps or the difference between the department, and that's how we would like to learn more about the rational experience in order to bridge the gap, yeah, and to become more successful in applying this concept to ensure the quality for the integration when we join the research network. We organize workshops with other schools of architecture in ASEAN. For example, in 2018, we welcomed a delegation from SUTD, led by Professor Dr. Chong Kiang-hwa, who joins us today. Yeah, they came and designed kindergarten playground for a rural community, and their concept I found highly fascinating. They met the children and the parents, the teachers as well. Several times they collect information and data as input materials for their design concept. And then they came back 1 year later to ask the children if they were satisfied with the design and what might be inadequate, yeah, could be adjusted or modified or changed in time to ensure the satisfaction of users. And I think this is the philosophy of design education, not only in Vietnam, but also in other countries in the ASEAN. We have so many good concepts to learn from and to exchange ideas, and we have still something to do in the forthcoming years in order to enhance the level of community-based or community-oriented design in education. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Yuan. May I invite the University Santo Thomas to respond to the question?
Yes, ma'am. Good day. Well, in our case, our engagement is really about partnership. We have partnered with the community, and our approach is using community organizing as our way of engaging with the community, and we consider the community leaders as our co-journeyers. So our engagement will be about planning with the community and our university, so that they will be understanding their role and their counterparts when it comes to the implementation and the planning of the projects. And there is the certain level of ownership on the part of the community because they are greatly involved. So as a person of sociology, we were able to do this kind of approach together with the architects as members of our community development team. So this is really a different approach now and a different engagement. That is why we are proposing in our university that service learning should be integrated in the curriculum of the College of Architecture. Thank you.
Thank you. May I invite Umpa to respond to that question from Professor Wong? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Professor Wong, for such a critical questions. So regarding our projects in retrospect, oh, by the way, I have two of my colleagues here, and probably they could chime in later. But on my part, in retrospect, the answer would be yes and no. So I would see our progression from the past projects to what the more recent one as progressing from less, what do you call it, a less co-design format towards a more engaged format in which we try to involve as many elements of community as possible. And we learned from the past project that even when we work with the community leaders here with our partner community, there are still some biases that we could not fully understand or fully eliminate. And so hence the project was resulting in some cases where our products has stood as only artifacts instead of a useful architecture for the community. And so that has been my questions ever since. And so, but for the latest ones, I think we made several progress that would, that includes various voices in the community that we work with. But unfortunately, I was not engaged fully in that project. And so probably Aldifra or Ariani, you could chime in whenever possible.
Okay. Thank you, Budi. And thank you, Professor Wong, for the question. I just would like to add a few description. I guess during the process, our students learn more how to become a facilitator rather than a designer. So they learn more how to be how to have empathy, how to position other people involved in the projects, how to communicate with them with the various background, and how to accommodate all what they want, what they need, and how to fulfill their expectation, how to negotiate if there's maybe disagreement, or even sometimes conflict, and how to compromise. So I guess they learn more about how to be a good facilitator, and I think it enhanced their the empathy and also communication skills, interpersonal skills as well. So I think it upgrade their capabilities, not only hard skill but also soft skills in relation to designing tasks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There's one question from Professor Bunanan from Thammasat University. I think it's an important question. He says, for any speaker for maybe all the speakers here, how do you prepare students for ethics before engaging to community design? So maybe we start with Grace again. Grace.
Yes. First of all, before students are deployed, they're given briefings by their professors. And this is where we see the value of general education courses, where they learn about psychology or the social sciences theories that equip them with more capabilities to communicate and to be very culturally sensitive. Like, for example, when they had to work on the Marawi project, where the dominantly Christian students had to understand the practices, the traditions of the Islamic communities. They had to prepare for that. And it also helps to always coordinate with the local leaders prior to them being deployed to the various sites. What we refer to as the barangay captains, the heads of the small social units who know very well the communities, the people, the social dynamics within the communities. All of these need to be understood before they actually face all of these people. Thanks.
Thank you, Grace. What about Yuan or anyone who want to respond to the question? Anyone would like to respond?
Yes, ma'am. May
Go
I?
ahead. Yes,
Yes.
Tobias.
Yes. Just like what Ma'am Ramos said, the general education program is really very relevant and important in preparing our students in terms of engaging with the community. Actually, the engagement in the community is the culmination of what they've learned in school. And it is really very important that we also engage our students with a committee that we have established in the university. There is actually a ethics review board in the university wherein everything that you will engage with outside should undergo in this ethics committee, because we will have to be very sensitive also to the feelings and to the situations of people. And this is actually a very important practice, because it makes the students realize as well that our idea may not be always be in line with the idea of the people in the community. So it's really important that we also be very sensitive in terms of our engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobias. Anyone would like to respond? Maybe Umpa?
Yes, I can try to respond. Probably Adi will add something later also. So regarding ethics, we did usually have our students being briefed for the preparations before they engage with the community. And as for the ethic itself, actually we are doing it based on our cultural knowledge of the community, and also we sometimes, or at times, depending on the situations, would invite either community leaders or the NGOs who partner with the community to give the briefings to the students and describe how to best engage this kind of this community in particular, what kind of ethical requirement that needs to be done to prepare the students to ethically engage the issues in the settlements or in the community. And Adi, you want to chime in? Oh, I guess that's it. Oh.
I think you have said it all, Budi.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. There's one more question. It's from Professor Paulus Bauli from Yogyakarta. He say, thank you for very good and invaluable sharing. I have only one question for all presenter. Would you all please share your experiences after the program finished to be implemented? Maybe I think his question is how to implement it, or also how to maintain the sustainability of the program results. Anyone is open? Anyone would like to respond? Tobias, yeah. Did you put your hand up? Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Again, regarding this, for example, as our journey with our Barangay Sibulan is about to end by July of 2022 after 10 years, we've come to realize that if there will be a good engagement in terms of community organizing and training with the community about these facilities, and they've come to realize their ownership of these facilities and this infrastructure, that there will always be this natural initiative from them, from their community, to take care of them. So far, if you're going to go back to our community and see the chapel, the infrastructures like the health centers, they have evolved over time. They've been continuously developing the infrastructure after our architects have built them already. So it's really a continuous journey on their part that they still value these infrastructures because they feel that these are still relevant for them. So as long as the community appreciates the projects and they have a sense of ownership, they will value them and they will always safeguard and protect this infrastructure. So this is how I see our experience with our community. Thank you.
Professor Paulus, are you there? Did I read your question correctly? Professor Paulus?
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I think because this is so important for us if doing the community service or service learning program. So usually after the implementation of the program, we just go away without taking care of the situation after the implementation of the program. I think this is from Tobias, Professor Tobias. I think this is quite interesting idea that the community should be involved, the organization who take care of the community. This is very important for the program. And maybe, according to our experiences, we involve also the government officers. So that with this government officer, we hope that the program, especially the program which is implemented in the remote area, another island. So this is so far from our university, so we have to collaboration with the local government in the local area. So with this strategy, so we just keep the program to develop the program done by the local government. I think this is quite interesting experience from Professor Tobias. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Paulus. Yeah. Could we have Professor Yuan or anybody who want to respond to that question about sustainability?
Yeah.
Okay, Professor Yuan.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Tan Biang Kiang, for your invitation. We from Hanoi University of Civil Engineering, we sometimes encounter a number of problems when we would like to ensure the sustainability or the success of our program. For example, we have to choose the issue or the problem of a community. The problem of the issue should be topical or critical enough to attract the attention of the community and the student, our student as well. And the community should be ready or open enough to welcome our students. And we normally have to contact the local people committee in advance. Yeah. And another problem is funding. When the program lasts over 2 weeks, we need additional financial support, either from the faculty or from the university and from the students themselves. Yeah. In order to cover all the costs related to the study tour. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone wants to add to?
I think I could add.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Rudy.
from our experience, from the first project to the current one, I think I tend to agree to Sir Tobias that we need to make community and other stakeholders to be invested in the project or in the programs. And the way to do that, I think, is to allow equalizing or equitable space for them to voice their concerns or voice their opinions, where we should allow maybe some unheard voices to be heard on the table, and so how to accommodate those opinions transparently, versus relying on several individuals to speak for the community itself, which is not the easiest thing to do, but I think that's the way that we need to proceed moving forward from here. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take one last question. It's from Professor Chia Kok Ming from NUS. He says, to all speakers, there seems to be an emphasis on the deployment of technical knowledge and skills in community engagement activities. Are students given the opportunity to acquire facilitation skills, negotiation skills, and other soft skills prior to the involvement? Anyone would like to respond?
I think I can respond first.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Budi.
Yes, for the facilitation or negotiation skills, we did provide some basic heads up for the students. But from my experience and my observations, mainly we do the equipping the students with the skills on the fly, in terms of in that whenever they see or encounter difficulties or troubles in negotiating or discussing or facilitating, we as faculty should be there and should be ready to provide with directions, or even we are the one who should provide examples or how to negotiate with the community in a good way, in a more inclusive way. And so I wish there would be a more structured way to equip students with a more structured program of facilitation skills. But I don't think we are there yet at our institutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any one else would like to respond?
Okay, may I?
Go ahead, Grace. Yes, please, Grace.
Okay. These are basic skills that we develop through, not necessarily through these very specific projects with communities early on in their freshman years. They're already trained to become leaders, to become organizers through the small student organization activities that they initiate, ideas coming from them rather than us just dictating what they will be doing for the semester. So those basic skills enable them to face the bigger world out there and be able to negotiate and be more empathetic, very understanding of other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Who else was the one who was? Yeah, Professor Yuan. Yeah.
Yeah. Quite short. We often hold a short training course for the students before they start their study tour, and in addition to the experience from the lecturers, we invite one or two students from the previous year, to share their experience while working with the community or the local authority to the new students, so that they understand what they should do first, what they should do second, etc.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good way to involve the previous batch of students. Yes, Tobias.
Yes, in our case in the university, yearly we have our community development orientation with our student leaders. No, this is actually a way of giving a background of our partner communities so that they will be equipped with the knowledge about the identity and the character of the community. It will actually help them also realize how they will be going to the community and how they will approach the community, because they have knowledge about how these people live and how they are actually doing their day-to-day lives. Like I remember when we started with our partner community, we even had another separate orientation for doing this community profiling. No, they have their own they have their tool, their research tool, and we taught them how to approach people in the community, because as much as possible, we have to be as friendly and less aggressive, especially if we are strangers in the community, because it was our entry point to understand the community by doing community profiling. So it was really a great experience based on what we had, because there was really no aggression or whatsoever. I think we were able to somehow provide the better orientation or a good orientation before going to the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our time is up, and thank you all for such an interesting discussion for session 1. We can carry on the discussion for some of the additional questions that we haven't answered. We can do it during the panel discussion. In the afternoon, most of you are on that panel. So now I will hand it over to Shan. Thank you.